Good. Okay. Well, ladies and gents, thank you all for coming in to see us this afternoon. My name's Lewis Clamping. I'm here with the head trader, Mr. Adrian Boothie. We're here from relatively mild Milton Keynes, UK. This is Trend Signal's headquarters. We've been here now for approximately 15 years. In fact, it was back in 2003 that we set this company up. We did two things here. You might well have seen one of these sessions before, or an email circular, or a YouTube video. But the bottom line is we do two things. We do them rather well. We trade privately for a living here at Trend Signal. There are 19 of us here on the trading floor. But also we have a growing global community of, must be getting on for nearly 10,000 clients globally who have seen a webinar like this one. They've made the decision to join us. They've paid their license fee and had the coaching sessions and all the rest of it. Go on to that in a bit more detail today. But the bottom line is they are now averaging around 1,000 pips a month profit. If you don't believe me, I will show you how throughout this afternoon's webinar presentation. Don't take it from me either. We are now 3-time award winners of the Best Trading Education Provider 2016 through to 2018. Left-hand side of the screen here. Hopefully everybody can see this. It's a cracking testament to the support and guidance that the guys next door provide to our users. I suppose it says quite a bit for the type of client we tend to attract as well. Do you know what I mean? People who are perhaps a bit more serious about their trading. I mentioned before, didn't I, in the warm-up, if you treat trading as a hobby, it will cost you like one. If you treat it as a business, it will pay you like one. And when you ask somebody what they're in it for, typically people say time, freedom, be my own boss, create a secondary income. The bottom line is all these sorts of things only happen when you have the ability to generate a profit. And that is what this afternoon's session is all about. Right, a bit of housekeeping before we dive straight in. I did mention it before. We are live, we are interactive. It is Thursday, the 21st of June, just gone 12:30. I will be asking questions to the floor. Typically it's a yes or a no question, or it's a Y or an N, something like that. That would be fantastic. Well, indeed, I'm sure that you all will have questions for me as well. So as we progress through the session, ladies and gents, please type away. Most of you have done already, I can see, but if you haven't done so, there should hopefully be a box that says type message here. Oh, excuse me. Type message here or enter question for staff, something like that. So that's how you and I can interact this afternoon. In fact, I'll tell you what, let's throw one out there, please. If you can hear me now, and if you can see me, just give me a quick hi, Lewis, hello, something like that. Hello, hi, Lewis, something like that. I want to make sure that everybody is on board. I don't want to lose you to any rubbish television, even though the World Cup's on. Anybody there, please? Now's your chance. Who's out there? Let's be having you. Excellent. Right. Too many to mention, crikey, because we had about 1,000 odd people book in for the session, and it's translated to be about 911, 913, 912 people now I can see here in the room as well. So good afternoon to you all, and thank you. Right. Good. Okay. Let's start by setting the scene. What I'd like to do is ask you all a question. You might well know the answer to this, but you might not yet. If I can ask everybody, why do you want to trade? Can everybody now do me a favor and jot me down a quick one-line answer? I don't want war and peace, but just a quick one-line answer, that would be fantastic. And let's see what some of the responses have been like. Yeah, to make money, says Paul. Yehuda says to make money. Pay the rent, says Vincenzo. Leslie says retire. Tired of being financially insecure, says Ahmed. Make money for profit, financial freedom, second income, more financial freedom, says Amish. Keith says to make a good profit in caps locks. Travel the world and make money, says Rowena. Shift says to generate additional monthly income. Freedom/retirement, says Mohammed. Lawrence says to make a living differently. Own boss as well, says Samro. All these sorts of, yeah, for kids and grandkids, says Ted as well. Excellent. Challenge and income and learning, says Arthur. Jim says not to lose money. Well, yes, Jim, that's the general gist of it. It's funny, isn't it? All these sorts of answers and responses, it revolves around making a profit of some description. It's making income. Lewis, I want to trade to make an income of some description. It might be what you and I would know as a full-time income, north of perhaps 4 or 5 grand a month, tax-free. It might well be a secondary income, maybe £1,000, maybe £2,000 a month tax-free. It might even be to pay to go away on holiday each year, just as a one-off. The reality, ladies and gents, is that we absolutely have Trend Signal users who are following the very strategy we will be demonstrating to you this afternoon, and they are making substantial four-figure profits on a monthly basis. And I know that to be true because you are speaking with two of them this afternoon. What you'll come to learn, though, is that it's all about having the right information to hand. Without boring anybody to death, when I first started, I quickly learned that if you are wanting to trade, if somebody out there is saying, right, my name is Joe Bloggs, and I want to be a trader, that's what I want to do, you have broadly two options now. You either go down the route of trading by yourself, or you use somebody else's help. And I'm a statsman, as we'll come to learn throughout this session. I look at the probabilities, I look at the success rates of trying to trade by oneself, and I look at the success rates of trying to trade with something like Trend Signal. And quite frankly, when I tried to compare them, there was no comparison. And I'll go on into the nitty-gritty as we get on through this afternoon's webinar. Again, you'll come to learn it's all about having the right information to hand. So we've qualified that it's money that we want to make, but how much money can we make at this? Well, this afternoon, Adrian and I will be going through one of our flagship Sniper Circle strategies. So you know how to make points and pips, it's the same thing. But first we need to consider our goals and expectations. Many come to me each week saying they need to make in excess of 100 pips, 200 pips a day in order to make any sort of tangible return from this. And what they don't realize is you don't need anything like that. Just 20 pips per day can be all you need. But what does this mean to you? Well, profitable trading is easier than you think. And here's how it works very briefly. Say you buy any market at 10,000, you sell it at 10,020. So they have 20 pips or 20 points. It's the same thing, really. Now, you do that on average every trading day here. You can see on screen, if I assume that there are typically 20 trading days in a month, weekends, bank holidays, and so on, 20 lots of 20, simple enough maths, it's 400 pips profit. But how can we monetize 400 pips profit? Because pips don't pay the mortgage or pay for the fancy holidays after all. Well, you might be sitting there trading with a broker like IG Index, CMC Markets. In fact, I'll tell you what, guys, gone a bit quiet. Let's have some answers, please. Tell me, who's your broker? You're trading at the moment, please. Who's your broker? Let me know on the questions panel. IG, is it? ETX Capital? FXCM, maybe? Yeah, plenty of IGs coming through, as you might well suspect. IB as well, says John. Lovely. Well, a lot of these brokers, guys, have something called a minimum trade requirement. And it kind of is what it says, really. It's the minimum that they will allow you to trade with. And often, with a large proportion of these brokers, it's £1 per pip. So if you're trading at £1 per pip and you're making 400 pips per month, simple enough, that's £400, tax-free if you're spread betting here in the UK. Now, we are under no illusion here at Trend Signal. There are many people who want to join us and want to trade for a profit, but the general expectation is probably higher than 400 pips and £400 per month. Guys, give me a yes or a no, please, or a Y or an N on the questions panel right now, please. Are you looking to trade with a view, with an expectation to make more than £400 per month, please? Yes or no? And I need an answer from everybody as well, please. Excellent. More, says Andrew. And Eric. Yeah, excellent, good. Well, okay, so it's all very well wanting it, but how do we get there? More pips, or do we increase our trade size? Well, if we want more, ladies and gents, the simplest way of achieving it is to increase our trade size. I'm going to tell you a typical scenario, because when somebody first looks at us, there's a lot of information to get through, depending upon how you look at it. But if I simplify this, ladies and gentlemen, the pattern you see is almost identical with every single person who joins us. And it's a bit like this. So somebody decides they want to trade because they want to make an income. They look at a webinar like this one, they make their decision to join us, they pay their license fee and have all of the coaching sessions, and then are signed off as profitable and competent with us. As they grow, as their profit grows, so does their skill and confidence. And what you tend to find happens is people who started off at 50 pence and £1 per pip, month 3 and 6, you'll find that £1 becomes £2, £5, £10. Blimey, one of Trend Signal's biggest users trades with in excess of £500 per pip. I'm not saying get the right away, of course I'm not. What I'm saying is, here at Trend Signal, there is a paved path for people to follow. It's a step-by-step, exercise-based, not a physical exercise-based, you understand, but an academic exercise-based program to ensure that people follow it correctly. Because if you've seen a webinar telling you that we can make you 1,000 pips a month profit following the software, you'll want to do that if you join us. Of course you will. £10 per pip, something a bit smaller. That's £48,000 a year tax-free if you are spread betting here in the UK. But this is what it boils down to. And ladies and gents, if you have a pen and paper handy and you are making notes, I would recommend writing this next bit down, because this is hands down the reason why people decide to go with it, join Trend Signal and move forward. Since 2013, our 3 daily strategies have made a total of 65,700 pips profit. This is net profit. This is every single winning trade less every single losing trade. The net result is positive over 65,000 pips. If you trade that at £5 per pip, you would have made over £325,000 tax-free over the last 4 years. And I know that to be true because you are speaking with 2 of them this afternoon. Let's have a look at some recent results. April of this year, positive 763 pips. You look at May last month, positive 1,186 pips. June already, we are the 21st of June, positive 1,597 pips so far. Guys, very simply, had you seen this webinar 1 month ago, had you joined us, had you traded in June, had you traded at £2 per point, you'd have made over £3,000 tax-free in 21 days. Right, question to the floor. What do we reckon, ladies and gentlemen? What do you think, please? Give me a quick one-liner, one word, something like that. What do you make of these numbers, please? Like it? Looks good? Realistic? What do you think, please, ladies and gents? Let's have some answers. It's not bad, is it? And this is what it comes down to. It's all about having the right information to hand. This is a bog standard candlestick chart. And what I'm going to do is throw a number of quick fire yes or no questions at everybody in the room, please. If you know the answer, of course, yes. If not, don't worry. It's not the be all and end all, but it's just really for me to gauge where you're at with us. Has anybody here ever tried to trade? Are you familiar with support and resistance, please? Yeah, anybody here familiar with support and resistance? Anybody use support and resistance? Give me a yes or a no, or a Y or an N, please, on the questions panel. And it doesn't matter if it's a no, by the way. Everybody, by the way, everybody get involved. You've got to be attentive. Thank you to those who are doing so. Anybody use price channels? Price channels, anybody? Anybody look at trend lines? Anybody try to trade at bottoms? Do you try to guess where the tops of a market are? All these sorts of techniques. Does your chart broadly, does it look like this? If you excuse the colourful noughts and crosses there. Ladies and gents, there are 2 problems with the industry. Just two. The first problem is, look at the state of this chart. Where on earth would you place your... Yeah, Sanjeev, what a fantastic comment. Sanjeev, I'm going to, before I do, I'm going to pull you up on this. Sanjeev says, I know all about them, but I have no idea of how to place the trade. And Sanjeev, this is the problem. Look at the state of the chart here, ladies and gentlemen. Where's your buy point here? Where's your sell point? How do you know consistently, mathematically, and methodically where to buy and where to sell the market? It looks like a complete and utter mess. It's a Picasso painting, for crying out loud. Problem number two, even if it were possible to profit from these sorts of techniques, yeah, I'm willing to bet that we'd all be out there doing it. Wouldn't we? If it was possible to profit from these sorts of techniques, you'd all be out there bloody making some sort of money from this. You certainly wouldn't be listening to me and us drone on for an hour this afternoon. You'd be out there bloody well making some money already. And this is the problem. Should win the Turner Arts Prize. There's Edward. Very funny. Anybody heard of indicators, please? Yeah? Anybody use indicators when they trade, please? Let's have some answers come through. Give me a yes or a no, or a Y or an N, please. Thank you. A relative strength index. Yeah, anybody, please? An RSI. Anybody heard of or use a moving average? Anybody heard of a moving average? Anybody heard of Bollinger Bands or Keltner channels? Anybody use Bollinger Bands or Keltner channels? Anybody look at Pesavento lines? Anybody look at volumes, the buying and selling pressure? Has anybody heard of a MACD? Anybody use a MACD when they tried to trade by themselves, please? A trader's best friend, so I'm told. Well, listen, let me tell you, Peter, heard of all of them, but they're still a misery. I'm not surprised, Peter. The problems are the same. Yeah, problem number one, where do you buy the market here? Where do you sell it? Where's your stop loss? Where's your target here? How do you know mathematically where is the best point to buy and sell a trade? Look at it. I mean, look at the state of it. It's a dog's breakfast. Problem number two is still the same. Even if these sorts of techniques worked, if they legitimately worked, you'd be out there already profiting from them. You certainly wouldn't be listening to us harp on for an hour. You'd be out there already making yourself an income from the markets. But the fact is that they don't work, and they haven't worked. And this is why your broker, ladies and gentlemen, it's a bit cynical of me, this is why your broker gives you these sorts of techniques for free. The reason they do that is because they know they don't work. But what they're trying to do is stimulate you to trade, and that's how they make their money. I'm not against that. That's not a bad thing. But people must understand that traditional technical analysis doesn't work, and using indicators that are free from a broker doesn't work. It just simply doesn't work. Ladies and gents, another question to the floor, please. Can you do me a favor? Can you write me down the word fair or unfair into the questions panel? Have I been fair with my analysis there, please? Do me a favor, please. Just write me down the word fair or unfair into the questions panel, please. Have I been about right to me? Is it about right, or have I overstepped the mark? Is it fair of me to say that traditional techniques don't work? Otherwise, we'd all be out there making money. And is it fair of me to say that your broker isn't going to give you profitable indicators for free? Why would they do that? Excellent. Keith, only if you're an expert trader. Well, for 14, 15 years, we've got a pretty decent track record, Keith, for sure. Good. Okay, excellent. Plenty of fairs and a few unfairs as well. That's not too bad. I can take some criticism. Good. Okay. Well, listen, let's cut to the quick then, shall we? Can everybody now do me a favor? Type me down a yes or a no, please, or a Y or an N. If I can show you something on screen that clears all of this up for you, produces a very clear and concise entry point into the markets, would that be of interest, please, ladies and gents? If I can show you something on screen right now, next few moments, something that says buy me now, it grabs you by the throat and says sell me now, any market, any time frame, and it achieves approximately a 70% strike rate. Would that be of interest, please, ladies and gentlemen? Good. Right, enough. Let's get on with it. We know the problems. Let's not dwell on the problems. Let's dwell on the solution. And this is us, ladies and gents. This is the solution. This is how we trade the markets. We've done this now since 2003. If you were an existing Trend Signal user, you would have seen the green disc on the chart here. Everybody got this? Hopefully you have. I know that people can spot this, but I just want to make sure that the webinar is working properly. Can anybody and everybody see this green disc on the chart? Give me a yes or a no. Hopefully everybody has got it. Trend Signal users were able to spot the disc on the chart there. It's green, so it represents a buy. They crossed over to their broker, which is IG, which is CMC Markets, FXCM, ETX Capital, whoever it might be, and they bought the market. They put in a stop loss. They put in a target. They then left the trade to work its magic. And the reality is on this trade, you were able to pick up about 100 pips worth of profit. And what's more, it was a little bit sweeter because we actually managed to do this overnight, would you believe? A long time, Jeff asked a quick question, how long have you been doing this? Jeff, personally, I've been doing it now since 2003, so it's a relatively long time trading on a very mechanical, mathematical basis. You can see on the chart here, the indicators we use are color-coded, they're highly visual. The maths behind all of it, guys, is quite complicated, as you might well expect. Yeah, what we've tried to do is create something that's graphically pretty and simple so that the GUI is relatively straightforward for anybody to use. Well, there's no point overcomplicating something after all, just for the sake of it. What you'll tend to find happens is it's all about having the right information to hand. So if somebody can follow these discs, green for buy, red for sell, then yeah, this is the precise strategy, ladies and gentlemen, where you are getting your 1,600 pips this month from. It's the same strategy you're getting your 1,200 pips from in May and 760 pips profit in April as well. Again, it's all about having the right information to hand. I will explain a little bit more about these over the next 20 minutes or so. Mark, what model Ferrari do you drive? I'm more of an Aston Martin fan, to be honest with you, Mark. I sincerely mean that. Although one of my best mates has got two, but they're older versions. They're not the newer ones. They're a little bit more expensive. Yeah, lovely brand. More of an Aston Martin fan myself. I said tongue in cheek. Right, one of the frequently asked questions we get, Lewis, I've seen a webinar, great, fantastic. It's a disc on a chart, it's produced that amount of pips. You'd be stupid not to do it, all the rest of it. How long does it take somebody to become familiar with the trading system? Because listen, if it's going to take me 6 months before I can start using this to make money, you know, I've got a bloke in a webinar telling me that it's a disc on a chart. Well, I think anybody could do that. What if there's a bit more to it that he's not letting on? What if there's a bit more to it that he's not telling me, but he just wants me to join and then find out that I can't do it? Ladies and gents, you're talking days before people can start profiting from our software. Mark here on screen, cracking testament. Day 1, 220 pips. Day 2, only 100. Day 3, 118 so far. It's not BBC World News. It's not a Bloomberg television program, guys. It is a piece of state-of-the-art, 3-time award-winning, predictive trading software with a 15-year track record. If you follow the rules of the strategy, you will get the numbers that we get and our existing clients get also. It is as simple as that. You don't believe me? Well, we've been doing it now since 2003. The alternative. I guarantee there'll be people in the room here who follow this. Quick question to the floor, please. Tell me, yes or no, please. Has anybody here tried to trade by themselves? Yeah? Yes or no, or Y or an N. Has anybody tried to trade by themselves, please? Yes or no? It doesn't matter whether it's on a demo or live money either. And second question, To everybody who answered yes, was it worth it? In inverted commas, please. Was it worth it? Yes or no, please. Overall, money and time, was it worth it? Barely, says Andrew. It was not consistent, says Shatan. Not yet, says Jeremy. Because this is what we're finding. No worries, Vicky, that's perfectly fine. Guys, this is what we're finding. When somebody makes the decision they want to trade, as I said before, you've broadly got two options. The first is to try to trade by yourself. We know that approximately 95% of self-directed traders lose money long term. Let me put that another way in plain English. If you deposit £10,000 with your broker tomorrow, ladies and gents, you have a 5% chance of generating a profit over and above that initial deposit. 5% chance. Tell me, is there anybody in the room who, now knowing those numbers, would still take the gamble? Yes or no, please? And this is where you sit back and pray that nobody says yes. We're not a webinar, a room full of gamblers. No, nobody said yes. Great. 5% chance? You've got to be kidding me. Nobody would they? I'm not going to risk my hard-earned for 5% chance of winning. God, that's worse than a bloody roulette table, for crying out loud. But people are. In fact, the majority of people are. And it is a puzzle to all of us here at Trend Signal in the industry. The best way I can describe this, if you forgive the analogy, any tennis fans in the room, let me know. It's a bit like me saying to you, right, what you're going to do is you're going to go onto centre court at Wimbledon. I'm going to give you 100 matches against Roger Federer. How many matches out of 100 are you likely to win against Roger Federer? 1? 0? It's got to be 0, for God's sake, I'd imagine. I reckon a blindfolded, one arm behind his back Federer would beat all of us. And if you forgive the analogy, ladies and gents, the principle is precisely the same with Trend Signal. It's not a tennis. It's not a tennis ball and a tennis racket. It's a webinar. It's a piece of software and a laptop. The idea here is if you are trying to trade by yourself, you are competing with other people who have better technology, faster information, and quite frankly, more experience. And then you're wondering where your piddly little £500 deposit is going. Well, I shall tell you where it's going. It's going into the Christmas party fund of your broker, if you forgive the frankness there. That's precisely what is happening. If you want to be good at trading, you have to do something about it. You have to invest in the skills and the tools you use to help you get it right. And at Trend Signal, we can help you with just that. It's the right tools, the right trading, the right mentorship, and the right guidance to ensure that you're not winning 0 matches against Roger Federer. You're winning more than you're losing. Because that is the name of the game after all. If you can do that for me, ladies and gents, you hopefully will be sending me in a testimony about how you made 1,600 pips in June already. That's the line of thinking. Right, invariably, last bit from me. We'll actually get onto some charts in about 2 minutes, guys, so thank you for sticking with it. Invariably, people come to our webinars at a bit of a crossroads. You're either brand new to it or you've done a bit before. Definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Bonus points for anybody in the room who can tell me who first said that, please. I shall say again, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to be good at trading, it will not happen by accident. You have to take action. The first step is often the hardest, as we all know. Yes, exactly. Oh, well done. Yes, Jason and Andrew weighed in there straight away with the correct answer. If you want to be good at trading, you have to do something about it. And this is the key here, because every single pip tally and profit figure you see from us, it has been achieved by Trend Signal users. Users who, let's face it, they started off life as a lowly webinar attendee. The only difference is they felt as though they were going to trade anyway. I might as well be profitable at it rather than try and lose myself. That's the key here. Anyway, enough. Let's get on with it. I'm sure you get the picture. We know the problems. We know that Trend Signal is a solution. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pass you over now to the head trader, Mr. Adrian Boothie. He's very good at what he does. We'll be going through Trend Signal under the microscope. We'll be taking a look under the bonnet to see how it is perfectly possible to generate a substantial four-figure profit on a monthly basis using our technology. Thank you. Over to you, Adrian.
Right, brilliant. Thank you very much, Lewis. That's great. So, right. So this is Adrian here speaking. Hopefully, you can all hear me okay. If you can hear me, can you just type "Hi, Adrian," please, into the questions box? That would be great. Yes, just simple hi. I say it's being a webinar. This is the only way we know that you're actually out there listening. So if you could let me know in the questions box that the sound is coming through loud and clear, that'd be great. Because actually, what I want to do is teach you something today. I want to teach you one of the strategies that I use every day and have been for the last well, quite a few years now. Actually, I mean, ever since really I joined Trend Signal back in 2004. So I could be going through the rules about that and really identifying for you a strategy and teaching you a strategy that we use to identify turning points in the market. So give you a little bit of history, if you like. It won't take too long. I started trading back in 2002, and really my strategy back then was quite straightforward, to be honest. You don't really want a pen and paper to write this down. It was simply this. Find a stock that's a bit cheaper than it was a couple of weeks ago and buy it. And that was simply it, really. And you know what? It worked for two trades, Barclays and Lloyds, and it was lovely. Made a few quid on those and thinking, yeah, this is great. This is going to be a great second income opportunity for me. And I carried on trading, only to find out that actually those trades that I kept on buying kept on falling. And actually, after doing quite some analysis as my account started to deplete, I started looking into what was going wrong. And I realized that actually I had a massive problem trying to identify turning points in the market and to identify trends in the market there as well. So guys, what I'd like to do is share with you something that Trend Signal helped me with. So I joined Trend Signal back in 2004 to help me with exactly that. What I'm going to do today is share with you a strategy that can help you identify those turning points with a little bit more clarity. Guys, yes or no, please. Would you like to learn today? Would you like me to share with you the 3 rules that you can follow to identify trades or turning points in the market where 66.3% of your trades can be successful? That's over the last, what, five and a bit years or so. Would you like to learn that today? The 3 rules to identify trades on that basis. Turning points there. That's good, because that is why we're here today. That is what I'm going to be teaching you. How we identify trades, how we where we place stops, where we place targets, and how we manage those trades as well. So we're going to talk about all of that from a sort of a starting point perspective there. Now, guys, what I want to do is get an idea from you all in terms of, again, whether you're in the right place today, whether you're in the right webinar, whether this is going to be right for you or not. Time, okay? You were probably talking to Lewis earlier about, you know, how much time you're looking to allocate to this to achieve your financial goals and so on. Are you prepared to allocate 20 minutes a day at this? Just a minimum, just 20 minutes a day, just to look at a few charts, follow a few rules, place a few trades. Are you prepared to allocate 20 minutes a day to this? It's fine if you want to do more. You can still type yes in anyway. I'm just kind of looking like a minimum requirement, really. Because if you can, then the end of day section might be extremely interesting for you. This is the way in which I trade on an end of day basis. And we're going to get into that a little bit later on. But if that is the way in which you trade, then you might be very interested in this number here, 67,000 points. That's looking at our end of day trading strategies. That's the sniper strategy, which I'm going to teach you today, and also our continuation strategy. That's all the winning trades over the last 5 years, 5 months, minus all the losing trades, so the losses on that over, let's say, the last 5 years and 5 months there. Actually, it's a bit higher than that now, because we're actually up about it's about 1,500 pips or so for June as well so far as we're running at this stage. So So guys, would you like to be, over the last 5 years, would you like to have been in a profit to that order of sort of 60,000 pips or so? Would that be good for you? If so, let me know in the questions box. Simple yes or no will be great in there as well. Good, of course. You say, of course. Well, you say, of course, it's not necessarily for everybody. Maybe it's not enough. Maybe it's too much. I don't know. But look, let's get into the strategy. I'm going to teach you the sniper strategy now, okay? So hopefully now we know that we're in the right webinar. Let's go through the strategy. I'm going to start off by showing you this on a 15-minute chart, 15-minute chart, and then we're going to go through it on some higher time frames there. Now, the reason I start off on a 15-minute chart is because it's the time frame that most people want to start off on and have a look at. It's not actually always the best time frame for people. And in fact, about 70% of the people that we teach actually trade exclusively on a daily chart. But we're going to get into that a little bit later on. But let's use the 15-minute chart to identify the strategy, and then we'll move on to some other time frames a little bit later. So I'm going to zoom into the right here to look at this trade from yesterday on the euro dollar. And there was a short trade there. So an opportunity to speculate on prices falling. And there's 3 rules that we're going to look for on this particular trade to identify that entry point. So what are those 3 rules and what are we looking for here? So what we've got on our chart, as I say, it's euro dollar, it's a 15-minute chart. There's a series of red and green indicators that are on the chart. These are all our own proprietary indicators, our unique math. And actually, these are all automatically plotted on the chart. So as the candlesticks come up, the indicators come in, and the sniper discs and so on, and the algorithms constantly calculating. What they're doing is looking for turning points really in the market. And the way in which we use these indicators, and I use them, is simply like this. We're looking for, I guess, the more green indicators we have on the chart, the more we're expecting prices to rise. The more red indicators we see on the chart, the more we expect prices to fall. Therefore, how do we identify a turning point, which is what the sniper strategy is looking for? It's about color change. That color change from green to red or red to green can identify a turning point, a particular pattern of that color change can identify that trading opportunity. So there's 3 rules we're going to look for. So we get started. Let's teach you those 3 rules to identify the trade, and we'll go on from there. All right. So let me just mark out the entry. The close of that bar, 115.81. At 3 o'clock yesterday there. Let's go through the entry point and what are those 3 rules that we're going to look for. Now, whilst I'm demonstrating this, everybody, I need you to think about whether you could follow this as well. So step number 1, let's look at this chart at the bottom here. What we're looking at is this red and green line. Now, this represents momentum. Basically, pretty straightforward in that regard. What we're simply looking for is this. When the line is green, momentum is up. When the line is red, momentum is down. Yeah, we're just looking for momentum change, okay? So the buyers are in control when it's green. Then when it turns red again, suddenly the sellers start to take control. That change in color from green to red or red to green tells us about a turning point in the market. Step number 1. So you see that color change from green to red. That's step number 1 of our 3-step process for that change in the direction coming into place. So guys, looking at that indicator there, are we clear on step number 1? Rule number 1 of our 3 rules for that line changing color from green to red. Give me a yes or no, please, in the questions box. Give as many yeses or nos as possible. Let's make sure we're all on the right page there. Yep, are we happy? Good. Okay, lots of yeses coming through. Okay, what else are we going to look for? Well, let's have a look through this line here that's kind of going through the candlesticks, really, that red and green line there. This is called our vector average, and really what it does, it tracks price. When prices are rising, the line is green. When they're falling, the line is red. Let's have a look at this color change here. A color change there from green to red is step number 2. This line is, as I say, it's tracking price. Prices were rising, now they're falling. So as the indicator or the candlestick closes, that indicator is locked and confirmed. So we're down on price and we're also down now in momentum. So pretty powerful combination that we're seeing there on the chart. And it's, you know, the more indicators we have telling us something, the more powerful that potential reversal is. So there's 2 indicators there. What we've then got is this big disc on the chart, the yellow disc with the red outline. That's step number 3. This is our sniper circle. What the sniper disc is, it looks at a number of things so that we don't have to do a lot of that hard work or heavy lifting ourselves. So the sniper circle is looking for things like, well, kind of like what Lewis was talking about earlier. reversal candlestick patterns. It's analyzing Fibonacci, that sort of thing. So instead of you having to understand even how to spell Fibonacci or candlestick patterns and measuring them or all that sort of stuff, which is kind of difficult to do, quite subjective and so on, very discretionary, we don't have to worry about that because it's in the algorithms that are constantly plotting and looking and searching for those reversals. So when the right reversals are in place, I don't have to learn everything about reversal candlestick patterns for the sniper to pop up on my chart and therefore give me step number 3. So if we have a sniper in place and those other 2 indicators turn from green to red, we have on the close of that bar our opportunity to short sell. In this case, at 115.81. And then we're going to speculate on prices falling. So guys, looking at those 3 indicators then on the chart, are we clear on the entry point? I want to make sure everyone's as clear as possible on the entry point for the strategy, just so we can move on. Because as soon as we know what we're looking at, then we can start to move quite quickly through a lot more charts, can't we? Are we happy with that? Peter's not so sure about it just yet. Just focus on the sniper. If you're not too sure, just focus on the sniper disc for now, and hopefully that'll be a lot more straightforward there. Okay? Yeah? Happy? Okay. Pretty much everyone is. That's good news. What is the bar in the sniper disc? That's the candlestick there, isn't it? So that's a down candlestick. But at that point, all the indicators weren't red, were they? So waiting for all those indicators to give us confidence that the trade's now likely to go lower. How likely is it to go lower? Well, look, from an end of day, a daily chart perspective, 66.3% of our end of day trades are winning trades. So that gives you a broad idea about how successful it is in terms of identifying those turning points. So let's just clear off that from the chart and let's move on. So we're happy with the entry point. We're now expecting prices to fall. So what else do we need to think about? Now we're in our trade, we need to think about risk and objective, stop loss and target, don't we? Let's go through the rules for those now. So what I want to do is go through the basics here. Now in reality, I can teach you bigger and better targets and trade management to go through, but I want to keep it to the real basics and how we get traders started for this session. So let's think about, let's put an E there for entry, okay, just to keep that clear. As far as risk is concerned, I'm going to have a look for that recent high. Looking at that recent high, that's where my stop loss is going to be referenced against there. Now, why is my stop loss going to be there? Well, there's a couple of reasons. Number one is it's a good level for a stop loss, okay? And if you think about it, this is your risk. Effectively, what we're saying is if the market goes up to here, we don't really want to be in the trade. So we're going to close the trade out and we're going to take some losses on the chin. But actually, if it goes up to that level, chances are it's likely to carry on higher, in which case you don't want to be short on it anymore, do we? So it's a good place for a stop loss. It's breaking out. So let's bail out of that trade. That's where a stop loss is going to be, above the recent high. The other reason we put it there, apart from the fact that it's being a good place, is that it works. And there's 2 pretty good reasons to do anything. It's simple to identify and because it works. Number 2, let's have a look at targets. Now, this being a 15-minute chart, we're going to go with a 20 pip target. Why 20 pips? Again, because it's simple to identify, and this is important for any strategy and because it works as well. So that's good. And as I said earlier, we can teach the techniques that allow you to take certain trades further to a different target where we can maximize our profit potential. But I'm not really going to go through the details of that according to one additional rule in today's session. So I just want to keep to Trend Signal Chapter 1 for now. So there's the target, 20 pips away. That's going to take us down to 115.61. Okay, so around about sort of here, then my stop loss. It's about a 1-to-1 trade. Okay, now the important thing about a simple strategy is this. And, you know, this is quite a serious point, really. You know, it doesn't matter how good any strategy is. If it's too complicated at the point of use, we can't follow it, can we? You know, because we're making mistakes. If it's based on discretion, subjectivity, and so on, it's complicated, it's difficult to identify, difficult to follow, and all of that sort of stuff. The more simple it is, the more straightforward it is to follow, the easier it is to get it right, the harder it is to get it wrong. And this is why a simple to identify, simple to follow strategy works, because it just reduces our ability to mess it up, okay? So simple's good, simple works. And for me personally, I don't particularly want to be spending hours and hours and hours at the chart identifying or analyzing whether there's an opportunity or not. What I want to do is get to that information considerably more quickly. And that's what strategies like this do. So guys, stops and targets, are we clear on that as well? If this was a daily chart, by the way, we'd start you off looking for 100-point targets, okay, before we refine those entries a little bit. But to give you an idea. So guys, yes or no, are we clear on stops and targets as well? Yes or no, please, in the questions box. I need as many responses as possible before we can then move on. Yeah? Happy? Good. Okay. So look, we're in our trade. We now want prices to fall. Okay? So, lovely first bar. And it's moving really nicely for the first bar. And then it starts to move the other way a little bit. Right. Anyone who's moved their stop loss to break even, of course, they've been knocked out of the trade by now. But let me ask you all a question. Fourth decimal place, Edward, absolutely. How would you be feeling? If you're still in this trade at this point, how would you be feeling now? Having seen it go really nicely to begin with, and then to back away. How would you be feeling now? Give me an answer, guys. Give me your, no problem, says Jeremy. Jim would be feeling sad. Andrew would be feeling worried, nervous, awful, sick. XX, yeah, possibly. Okay, emotions. We're talking about fearful emotions, really, aren't we? You know, when we're traders, there's two primary emotions that we're going to be facing and having to deal with. Number one is greed, which in my opinion isn't that big an emotion, really, as far as trading is concerned. It very much tends to be overtaken by fear. As soon as we place a trade, typically we're quite fearful about the trades we place. The heart rate starts to kick up a little bit. The sweat starts to kick up a little bit. And we tend to feel a lot more nervous and anxious about the trades after we place them. Does that sound familiar? As soon as you place a trade, are you looking for a reason to close it out? A reason that doesn't really exist apart from just making you feel a little bit better? Yeah? So, you know, this is often how we feel as individuals. And there's nothing, I wouldn't say there's nothing wrong with it necessarily, but it's fairly normal is really what I would say. But in order to manage our trades effectively, we need to be able to combat those emotions. Now, the good news is that we can help you with all of that. But one of the main reasons why we feel this way is confidence, or more importantly, a lack of confidence, okay? And let's think about it rationally. If it is the case that 90% of self-directed traders lose money at this, why are they going to have their confidence in their strategy in the first place? Because if that strategy they're using has been losing money for them, why are they going to be confident about the next trade? As soon as they place a trade, they're naturally thinking, oh my goodness, it's going to be another loser. So what can I do to interfere with this trade so I reduce my or minimize my my risk? Do you see what I'm saying? So a lack of confidence is a big problem for a lot of traders. And I can help with confidence by helping you with the right strategies, of course. The other big problem a lot of people have is trade size. A lot of people are risking too much money on their trades. And again, this is aligned to confidence, you understand. You know, relaxed money wins. The more relaxed you are about the trades you're placing, the more likely you are to run the trade as per the strategy that you're supposed to be following in the first place, rather than interfering with it. Does this all make sense? The other big problem for a lot of traders is, well, look, let me ask you, does anyone sit there staring at the chart after they place the trade? Does anyone do that? You watch it, you live and breathe every price movement, up, down, left, right, sideways. Does anyone do that? Yes? Have done? Yes? Right. Does it help or hinder? Is it good or bad? What do we think? Typically, what I tend to find is the more we sit there staring at the chart, the more we're inclined to interfere with it. We're finding any possible reason going to help us to close that trade out, just so that we can feel a little bit better again. But you know what? How often is it that as soon as you close out the trade then goes on to where you wanted it to go in the first place? So we've got to try and control those emotions. Let's get you away from the screen. What we prefer to do, and what we teach you to do to begin with at least anyway, is set and forget. Put the stop loss in, put the target in, and leave the trade alone. Why do we do that? We do that simply because A, it works, and B, it takes your emotions out of the equation. If you're not watching it, if you just put your stop and target in and leave it, you can go and take the dog for the walk, can't you? You can go to bed. You can have that business meeting. You can go off and do whatever you want to do and not interfere with the trade. Because actually, when it comes to it, trading's a little bit like golf, really. And what I mean by that is, when you play golf, it doesn't matter how you score. You can hit a few bad shots. But all that matters is what you score at the end of the hole. What you're writing on your scorecard at the end of the hole determines your score at the end. Now, trading's the same. It doesn't matter how my trade gets to my target. all that matters to me is that it gets to my target before it gets to its stop loss. So let's take that emotional roller coaster out of the way and allow it to run its natural course. Does it hit my target at 61 before it hits my stop loss up here? And let's just see how this trade pans out. Now, this one stays on for a long time, but I'm using it to kind of illustrate the point, really. And eventually, that trade, there it is, comes down and hits that target. All right? So to illustrate the point, set and forget, get yourself out of that equation as well. Because once you've got yourself out of the equation, then all of a sudden you can allow the strategy to do what it's supposed to do, to then build your confidence, and you can move on from there. So guys, yes or no, are we happy with all of this? So when I talk about the strategy, that's the entry point, the exit points, and the trade management. Give me a yes or no, or whether we're clear on this strategy. You can type clear in as well if you want to, just to make sure we're all on the right page. Yes? Happy? Good. Excellent. Okay. Good. Well, look, let's move on, shall we? And thanks for your participation there, guys. It really is important to me. Let's have a look at what else has been going on here. I mean, we have the short trade here, a short trade there on sterling dollar. There was one today, actually. If I look at that now, I mean, a crazy move up on the pound on MPC. I'm not really suggesting anyone's going to be in this buy because we've got interest rate data here. But in any case, it was a pretty explosive move. But just to illustrate the point, it's just those indicators here turning from red to green to give us the opportunity really to buy. The likes of the FTSE there, buy trade from last night, the market then rallying there. In fact, there's a couple of trades there yesterday, none today really, but a nice short there. Again, indicators rolling down. So looking at indices now, you can look at indices, we can look at FX, we can look at commodities. It doesn't really matter. We're just analyzing data. So from yesterday, a few trades there on crude oil. So that's Brent crude, lovely short, lovely buy. And then even today, we're seeing a nice trade there, which has gone on and hit target as well there. So it's all about that clarity over that entry point and that execution. The Dow, lovely short there. Got within a gnat's whisker of target, but didn't break it, and then went on and hit profit. Crude, NYMEX crude, and also gold there as well. So guys, let me ask you all a question. When you look at charts like these, do you think, going back to that euro there, do you think that having turning points that are as, I guess, as clear as this would give you more confidence over your execution? So instead of having to think, well, I think it's a trade, or maybe it's a trade, maybe it isn't, do you think something that gives that much clearer guidance, that rules, that framework would be a real benefit to your trading? What do you think? Give me a yes or no, please, in the questions box. Get as many yeses or nos in there as possible. Be great. Good. It certainly does for me, okay? Now, this is on a 15-minute chart. Now, that's fine for those of you who want to trade 6-7 hours a day. Most of you probably don't, okay? And in fact, I certainly don't. You know, I look at trades on an end-of-day basis because that works better for me. It gives me the financial results that I want and actually the time requirement that I want, which allows me to spend time doing other things. So maybe I want to spend more time with my kids, my wife, my dog, maybe I want to go and play golf more. You know, this gives me the opportunity because actually when it comes to trading, you don't have to be trading for full-time hours in order to make the full-time income from this. Because with trading, time does not equal money. The longer you spend at something with trading doesn't mean the more you get out of it. What it comes down to is information. Information equals money here. And the good news is, as I said, you can make a very attractive income just from trading on an end-of-day basis. So, and in fact, let me ask you all a question. If you think about why you want to do this, why you want to trade, then I'm sure there's a reason. Maybe it's early retirement or whatever. There's a reason why you want to trade. Now, let me think about the time requirement there. What would you prefer to do? If you could achieve that goal from just 20 minutes a day, or if you needed to spend 6 or 7 hours a day at it, what would you prefer? Would you prefer it if it only took 20 minutes a day, or if it took 6 or 7 hours? You know, obviously the answer's pretty clear, isn't it? You know, let me know in the questions box though. You know, we'd probably want 20 minutes a day, right? If we could get the same result. So, you know, let's find out if there is a way in which we can do that, shall we? We could look at a 4-hour chart. You know, something like a 4-hour chart is a good time frame to trade off, and it's pretty underrated, actually. You know, the S4, S5 strategy we look at there, it's a slightly different strategy. It's still looking at turning points, you understand, but I want to have a look at the how in which we do this. Let's have a look at this chart here on dollar yen. So the S4, S5 strategy, we've been running this for about 3 years now. This strategy is still looking for turning points, you understand, but we've kind of put it in the background, if you like, and demonstrating the opportunities by those arrows. So guys, let's have a look at these arrows here, that green arrow pointing up. You see that on the left-hand side of the chart when we look at the S4 strategy? It's on a 4-hour chart. So here we're looking at the markets for 20 minutes, 3 or 4 times a day. What do you think you do when you see a green arrow pointing up here? What do you think you do? Let me know in that questions box. What do you think you do when you see a green arrow pointing up? Let me know. The answer, by the way, is either going to be buy, sell, or do nothing. But let me know there. What do you think you might do with that arrow there? Yes, it's a buy. We're going long, of course we are. It's clear. And the point of this strategy is this: whether you want to trade off a 4-hour chart or not, what these strategies are doing is it's creating more clarity for you, because it's either got a sniper or it hasn't. It's either got an arrow or it hasn't. It's either a potential trade, or it isn't. You're not having to work out, oh God, okay, I've got to get my calculator out here to work out whether it's a possible trade or not. That's really complex. But actually, because look, if it doesn't have an arrow, there's definitely no trade. That's really what we're talking about here. So what it means is, it's a lot more achievable. It's a lot more possibility of getting it right. It's much more difficult, really, to get it wrong. And that's really what our strategies are all about. Because we have profitable strategies, we want everyone to be able to follow them. Because actually, if you think about it, really, what if they are profitable? Why confuse everybody with complex strategies if they can be simplified at the point of use? And that's really the real benefit of this stuff. So we could be looking at the markets every few hours, looking at opportunities like these. Again, we can look at commodities, we can look at FX, euro sterling here. Looks like a bit of a rip-roaring short coming up there. See that one coming up on the close of this bar? It's yellow at this stage because it's saying it's plotting one. And for 2 o'clock, there might well be a short there on euro sterling there on that opportunity. So it's yellow until the candlestick's confirmed, and then it will go red on the end of that bar if the hallmarks of the trade are still present, of course. US oil, so crude oil, even CAD yen, a few opportunities there. Again, it's about clarity for people, really. Allow you to have confidence over where those entry points are. And if you think about what strategies like these do, the sniper strategy, this strategy, what it's really about is it's about reducing time. It's about giving you more time, because you're not having to spend waste time on analyzing markets that you shouldn't be analyzing. Okay, complex patterns that you don't really have time for, or perhaps even the expertise for. So it's going to reduce your time. It's going to increase your accuracy rate, because it's easy to identify where those opportunities are. And because of that, it actually makes it more, it gives you greater opportunity, because it allows you to look at more markets. On the 4-hour chart, we look at 28 different instruments. Why do we look at that many? I mean, some of you might be sitting there, come on, Adrian, at the moment, I only trade euro dollar. How am I supposed to look at 28 different instruments? Because the indicators either change color or they haven't. It's that kind of a deal. It gives you more opportunity to look at those things. Thing is, it could be that maybe a daily chart is more your bag. Because Eric, yes, do you have to look at your screen every 4 hours for a 4-hour chart? Yes, you do. Not at night, not at like 2 a.m. or 10 p.m. We're not interested in those hours for the 4-hour chart. But yeah, it is a solution for someone who's maybe a computer-based worker, self-employed, retired, that sort of thing. Me personally, though, I only trade off the daily chart. And I do that because it suits me. It suits the way in which I want to trade. Okay, so what we're looking at here is, well, you can look at equities. Okay, when you're looking at equities there, it's the same, back to the sniper strategy here, WPP, Schroders, Royal Dutch Shell, Royal Bank of Scotland. We're just looking for those, again, those simple turning points in the market, that clear guidance of where those markets are looking to change direction there. Okay, Legal & General, Land Securities, Aviva, ADM, and so on. But this is what I look at. Once a day FX. We say FX, it's 38 instruments. There's a few FX pairs. Well, it's mostly FX, but there's a few indices, a few commodities thrown in there as well. Just a little bit of diversification to that portfolio. 38 instruments. Now, you're probably again sitting there saying, come on, Adrian, 38 instruments. What are you smoking now? Something even stronger now. How on earth are we supposed to look at 38 instruments each day in 20 minutes to ascertain what trades to place? Well, there's a couple of things. Look, you can either go through it manually, and remember, the indicators are either changing color or they're not, but there's another option here. You can use a scan. So we have a scanner where we can look for all the opportunities, whether it's a sniper and continuations, or if you might just want to look for just the snipers. As an example, we provide our students with this scanner to say, right, here's your list of instruments, okay? Our preferred list that our performance history is based on. Find me a list of instruments that have had a sniper over the last 2 days. Start scan, and it'll present you with a list of opportunities of instruments, markets, currencies, indices, and so on that meet those rules from our preferred list of markets. What this scan does for you is a number of things. Number one, it's going to cut down your analysis time dramatically, because you don't need to be sitting there analyzing 100 different markets and spending time calculating this, calculating that, because if it's not in the scan, it's not worth looking at. Okay, so it's going to cut your analysis time dramatically. And because of that, what it's also going to do is it's going to cut down your error rate, really, because you're only going to be looking at markets that are turning. Because if they're not turning, they're not in the scan. So what it does is it improves your accuracy as well. And again, because it's a straightforward and a quick process, it allows us to identify those opportunities in a very quick fashion as well. So we can look at more markets. 38 instruments there, as I say, diversifying our portfolio. So each night you're able to look at the scan and say, right, let's have a look at these instruments. And maybe you'll end up with a chart like this. Now let me ask you guys, let's just zoom into this New Zealand yen chart here. Based on what I've taught you so far today, if you had these indicators on your machine at home, if you had that scanner on your machine at home, based on what I've taught you so far, could you have identified these two trades? Yes or no? Let me know in the questions box. Based on what I've taught you so far today, if you had these indicators, the sniper, the red and green lines, the scanner on your machine at home or at work, could you have identified these opportunities? Give me a yes or no, please, in the questions box. As many yeses or nos as possible. Could we do it? Yes? Okay. If the answer is yes, then that means that you have the ability to follow what we do, to replicate what we do. Over the last 5 years, 5 months, that's 67,000 pips. Would you like to have been up over 60,000 pips over the last 5.5 years? I'm sure you would. Let's have a look at some of those other opportunities. Sterling yen. Great trades here. This down one here, this is what we call a continuation. I'm not going to go into the rules now, but it is simple color change again. Now we start you off looking for 100-point trades on the daily chart. Why 100 and not 20? Because the higher the time frame you go off, the bigger the market's likely to move, right? So, you know, because it's going to be a bigger duration. So here, yeah, we start you off on 100, but some trades we are going to expect more. Okay, and we'll expect more because of one additional rule. I'm not going to talk about that rule now, but like this one here, we expected this to go more than 100. In fact, our profit target was 170 pips away on this sterling yen trade, and it hit it. It was great. 66.3% winners of our trades are winners on the end of day charts there. All right, New Zealand yen going back here, there was a number of great trades there. The DAX, we're in a short, pretty ugly looking entry point, but in any case, the indicators have rolled over, haven't they? And we've got a short on this at the moment. We're up about 120, 130 points on it at this stage. That one was 166 point winner. Nice winner. Aussie yen here. Some great trades on those yen pairs lately. Some fantastic opportunities. The Dow here. So again, some lovely opportunities there. Euro Aussie. These are clear trading opportunities, aren't they? Okay. Sterling dollar. Yeah, do you know what? Sterling dollar's really backed off from there. Okay. But do you know what? It hit our target before it did. Euro dollar. Same thing. Swiss yen. Great trade. It's touching its target down here. A couple of great trades there as well. Even copper. That's one of our 38 instruments. A lot of people probably don't trade copper at all. But you know what? It's one of our 38 instruments. It rotates pretty well. And we pick up some decent profits off that one too. It's just about having the clarity to know really when to get into those trades. Okay. All winners. 66.3% win rate, Craig. Okay. We will have losing trades. Anyone who tells you they've got 100% performance history or track record or success rate, there's one of two things that are happening there. Number one, they're either lying to you, or maybe they've only ever done one trade in their life. Okay, so there will be loss-making trades. It happens. But here, by following the rules, that's what we've been able to achieve. And actually, we've been doing this now since 2003. That's when Trend Signal started, in 2003. Okay. So guys, so we know that we can follow this. That's good news. What I want to do is just get into a bit of an idea about the user experience. So we've been teaching people to do this since 2003 now, as I said. I joined Trend Signal in 2004 because I was struggling with my turning points. I was struggling to identify trades. But what about those that we've been teaching more recently now? What about Mr. Roberts? Let's have a listen to what he had to say here. I've been a Trend Signal customer for nearly 3 months, during which time I've averaged 800 pips a month from following their simple rules-based approach. The Trend Signal Plus trading package includes everything you need to replicate these results consistently, irrespective of whether you're an experienced spread better or just starting out with a demo account. The strategy is simple and easy to apply, with color-coded bespoke indicators that make it very simple to scan charts and identify those presenting a trading opportunity. This approach requires no subjectivity, so you can reproduce the same results and also gain confidence that the system works from looking at historical charts. I spent over 6 years looking for a trading system that works, and Trend Signal found a way to accurately identify trades with 70% accuracy, so I'm delighted to be one of their customers. Look, what's Mr. Roberts saying here? Because it's all well and good listening to me, like I'm head of trading here, but what about those that we're teaching? What have I been saying today? I've been saying it's simple and easy to follow. I've been saying that there's no discretion required. What's he saying? It's simple and easy to apply. This approach requires no subjectivity. He's averaging 800 pips a month. He's got a 70% accuracy rate. So what's he saying? He's saying what I've been saying. What does that mean to you? It means that we're delivering what I've been saying to you. The user experience, i.e. the experience of those that we have taught as part of our training program, is as we expect and as we intend it to be. Mr. Roberts then goes on to say this: 11 months in as a Trend Signal customer, and I couldn't be happier. I've averaged over 1,000 pips a month for the last 4 months now from simple end-of-day trading techniques that only take 20 minutes in the evening. Guys, yes or no? Has anybody here ever made over 1,000 pips in a month? Give me a yes or no, please, in the questions box. Have you ever done it? Let me know. Has anyone ever done it? Vincenzo has. Well done. Everyone else is saying no. Right. Would you like to? Look, Mr. Roberts is averaging over 1,000 pips a month from 20 minutes per day. This is fast moving from an income supplement to potentially a main source of income and being my own boss. No better recommendation can be made than my brother who's just signed up to being a customer after hearing how well I was doing. Why has it worked for Mr. Roberts? Why has it worked for Yvonne here? I can't tell you how many times I've tried different schemes, but eureka! I actually found one that works, and it's brilliant. Why? Well, look, it's because of what we call the complete trading package, which is a very carefully crafted package of indicators, tools, strategies, training, support to help you to be successful at this. Now, I want to be clear on something here. In fact, let me ask you all a question. I want to demonstrate something here in a way. I want you to think for a second about why you want to trade. Do you want to trade the markets because you just simply love trading? You know, you like maths, you like analysis, and you can't get enough of all that sort of stuff. Or is it simply because you want to make money from trading? Is it T, you like trading, or MM, because you want to make money from trading? T or MM? Let me know in the questions box. Be honest with yourself. Me personally, by the way, the reason I got into trading in 2002 was simply because I wanted to make extra money. I had a few bob. My nan, bless her heart, passed away. She left me some money. I put it into a trading account, and I wanted to make more capital from it. That's it. That's my story, as brief as it is. But why do you want to do this? Is it T, because you love maths and analysis and all that sort of stuff, or MM, because you want to make money from trading? Let me know in that questions box. I'm going to be clear on something there, because most of you are typing MM. You just want to make money from this. You've chosen trading as your opportunity for making an additional income source, primary income, second income, whatever. You see, the thing about my job is My job is not to teach you how to trade. I'm not going to do that. If you want to learn 101 different chart patterns and 101 candlestick patterns using 1,001 indicators and different settings, then you can go somewhere else. That's not my bag. What I am here to do is to teach you how to make money from trading. Okay, so our training program is geared around using our indicators and tools and strategies so that you know what you should be doing in the right way so that you can get the same results as us. And that's really the goal here. So what do we provide our students with as part of our complete trading package? Number one is the indicators and tools. We've been looking at those today, the red and green lines, the sniper disc, the arrows, the chart scanners, that sort of thing, so that you have these indicators on your machine at home, at work, your laptop you're traveling around with, whatever. You also have access to the strategies as well. So that's the entry points, the stop losses, the targets, the trade management, and so on. So effectively at this stage, we provide you with your car and your user manual. But of course, you then need to learn how to drive that car, don't you? Because you don't want to wrap it around a lamppost. We want to make sure you're doing it the right way. And that's when we enroll you onto our 6-month training program. This is where we provide you with all the training and then the supporting guidance that you're going to need along the way to turn you into those successful traders that you want to be. So how does that work? Well, with our training videos and home study training pack, you get training videos, user manuals, handouts, so that you have all that reference material on a home study basis, in inverted commas, so that you can go off and learn the training material yourself, and learn what you need to be doing. Now, effectively, our trading course is delivered, say, it's online predominantly, although there is an opportunity to come to the office here in Milton Keynes for a day, but it's optional thing. It's online predominantly. But in any case, what we do here is we basically teach you what you need to know. So we're not going to teach you chart patterns and candlestick patterns. Why? Because you don't need to know them. We'll teach you how to use the tools and strategies we've been talking about today so that you can trade in the right way. And effectively, the program really starts with one simple question. When can you look at the markets? Once we know when you can look at the markets, then we can assign you a trading plan or build a trading plan with you that's going to work for you according to your day-to-day lifestyle. Because as soon as we know that time frame, we know the best strategies for you to follow. We know the best markets for you to look at and trade off. We know the best entry points, stop losses, targets according to the strategies that we trade here so that you are able to follow suit, okay? We'll teach you trade sizing, psychology, risk management, and so on. It all falls into place there, so you then have a proven trading plan that's going to work for you. Now, alongside that training side of it, you're then going to need that support. And for me, when I joined Trendsil in 2004, I got a lot of live support and training. It was extremely effective to learn while doing. And I want that for you as well. So as part of our training program, we provide you with live training as well. So twice a week, we host live trading workshops where online we go through each and every single trade. We talk about each and every single stop, target, and so on, so that you can compare what you're doing. So for example, I might be going through the charts and, online in a webinar format just like this. We'll be looking at a trade and I'll say, right, here we've had a trade on sterling dollar, maybe, stop losses here, targets there. And you'll say, I had that trade as well, right? Obviously, because we're all following the same stuff. But you might say, I put my stop loss there, Adrian. And I'll say, why? And you'll say, well, and I'll say, look, remember the rule. Let's go through the rule. The stop loss needs to be here because this, that, and yada, yada, yada. And you'll say, yes, of course. Stupid, silly me. Do you know what? I'll correct that stop loss now, and I'll never make that mistake again. Thank you. That's great. That's the purpose of these workshops. Log in live, watch the recordings of them, attend these workshops, interact, ask questions to professional traders so that when you have those questions, we'll get them asked so that your trades, your results should be like tracing paper over hours because we're all looking at the same rules, we're all looking at the same indicators and so on. That's what these workshops are geared around. And then also to help you on your merry way, we provide you with one-to-one training as well. Because what we want is to make sure that everybody has the ability and the desire to ask all the questions that they might want to. So we assign you a coach who's going to go through all of it on a one-to-one basis. The coach, we've got 7 coaches globally. Each and every one of them are Trendsignal students themselves. So each and every one of them have attended a webinar just like this, enrolled on the Trendsignal program, perhaps as struggling traders originally, but come out the other side now as extremely successful traders. So this gives you the ability to have 3 hours of personal one-to-one time with someone who's not only an extremely successful trader in their own right, but also someone who's extremely successful at using the same strategies you're now using, but more importantly, someone who's been through the same processes that you're learning too. so that they can show you and go through those processes that they followed to come out the other side as successful. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's a perfect sort of social proof, if you like, that what we have here works, because they've been there, they've done it, and they're going to show you how they did it so that you could do it too. That's why it's the award-winning, multi-year award-winning complete trading program. Now, guys, I'm going to pass you back to Lewis now, who'll take you through to the close, but hopefully that's been a good intro into what we do, and I'll speak to you again soon, no doubt. Here's Lewis.
Hi there, guys. Cracking segment as always, Adrian. Thank you ever so much. We've just switched over the microphone, ladies and gents, so hopefully everybody can hear me. Can you do me a quick favour, just a quick sound check? Is the sound coming through? Hopefully it is. Give me a yes or a no. Oh, probably a no, you won't be able to hear me. Good. Plenty of yeses. Excellent. Yeah. Yes, cracking segment as always, Adrian. I think it's one thing. It's always one thing looking at talking about a bit of software in the markets. I think it's quite another demonstrating something live in front of people to make their own mind up. So it's always nice to look under the bonnet of something and see exactly how it works. Hopefully you all got a lot out of that bit. Hopefully you were engaging with us, and hopefully you were able to see the benefits of what it's like as a trend signal user. I always do this at this stage of the webinar. If I can ask another question to the floor, please. If I can ask everybody to write me down a quick one-liner about what they thought of Adrian's segment, that would be most appreciated. Yeah, so that's your chance, ladies and gents. First thing that springs to mind, what did you make of Adrian's segment? Don't need War and Peace, just a quick one-liner. Like it? Love it? Interested? Curious? Was it helpful? Did you find it easy to follow? Was it relatively clear? Maybe you found it boring. Maybe you didn't like it. Guys, now is your opportunity, please. Now let's interact. Can I ask you a question? From what you've seen of Adrian's segments, the software, the charts, and the timeframes, what did you make of it, please? Just for my benefit. And what I'll do is I'll wait another 10, 20 seconds to ensure that everybody has a chance to respond. I can still see healthy numbers, 901 to be precise, of viewers still here, which is good. Yeah, right. Some really decent pieces of feedback. I'm not quite sure whether I can. Can I do that? Can everybody see that? If I drag that over, I won't show everybody's names. Can everybody see that? Mind-blowing info at the bottom there. Crikey, very interesting. Great way to make a regular income. Crikey, okay. Very good, Leslie. Thank you. And to you, Sanjeev. Good. Okay. Well, next question then. Yeah, that's fine, Jeff. Not a problem. Thanks, Ray, as well. Brilliant. Okay, so Craig asks, some losers would have been nice to see and reaffirm the 66% chance strike rate. Craig, it's very simple. A loser is just a trade that touches its stop loss sooner than it does its target. It looks the same. It's just a price that's touched its stop loss sooner than its target. Very simple. Excellent, Edward. Thank you very much. Good. Okay. Well, next question to the floor, please. Can you see yourself using Trend Signal? Yes or no, please. And let's have some answers through. Very simply, can you see yourself using Trend Signal? Yes or no, please. Or a Y or an N. Thank you. Okay, and final question from me for now. Have you got £5,000 to invest? Yes or no, please. Everybody has answered yes to that question. Excellent. If you've answered no to the £5,000 question, don't worry, because it doesn't cost that much. Excellent. Lovely. I just thought I'd pose the question to see what people have. That's all. Good. Okay, well, what I'd like to do is give you a flavour, really, of I suppose what it's like as a user. It's all very well me harping on in a webinar telling people how weird and wonderful something is, but I think it's quite another thing. It's quite beneficial and helpful to see what it's like as a user straight from the horse's mouth, so to speak. So I've got a couple of testimonies to show everybody. We had this one for a lady called Lisa actually recently. And this is interesting because Lisa caters for anybody out there who is relatively new to trading and trend signal. So you might be sitting there thinking, well, Lewis, you know, I'm quite new to trading in general. Will it work for me? Well, Lisa sent this email into Adrian recently. I won't read all of it out for the sake of time, but she mentions that in the last month, she's made over 1,900 pips, and her last 26 trades are all closed positive. She didn't have any previous experience without the tool set and ongoing support and training. She doubted that she would have the success that she has. Now, the reason also why I'm mentioning this testimony, guys, is because Lisa actually runs her own professional wedding photography business. She looked to trade the markets because A, she was interested in it, and B, she wanted to find a way to supplement her professional income. Actually, as it goes, I believe now she's making more from her trading activity than she is her weekend gig. So it stands to reason that she does both, because the end of day, I mean, you're not taking wedding photographs at 10 in the evening after all. Something a little bit more recent, ladies and gents, this was sent in last week from Philip. Philip said this to Taya. Taya's a lady in the IT department. Hi Taya, review as promised. The trend signal system is easy to follow. End of day system takes a maximum of 30 minutes to find and execute trades. That's it until 10 p.m. the next day. You don't need to check the charts at all. You get a real sense of achievement in finding your own trades instead of following somebody else's. Twice weekly webinars take you through current and possible trades. There is a question and answer session throughout the webinar. Oh, and I nearly forgot the pips as well. I was up over 1,000 pips in May, and June has continued in a similar fashion. It'd be nice to see another testimony from Philip, because obviously we're up by about 1,600 pips in June already. So I suggest that he might be well on his way to making something similar. And again, it comes down to, what are you in it for? Because if I tell you that we average 1,000 pips a month, it ain't just me saying it. There are people out there like you that are looking at a webinar like this one. The only difference is they've had the wherewithal to join us. That's it. In fact, 1,000 pips from Philip here is one thing. In a recent workshop, I posed the question, how many pips has everybody made over the last couple of months? How many pips has everybody made over the last couple of months? And this is a screenshot of some of the responses: 1,950, 1,300, 1,300, 2,800, £18,000 in 3 days. It's quite a heavy-hitting client, though, of course. 1,800 had a week off, 1,600, 2,400. I can't emphasize enough, ladies and gents, if you have the wherewithal, if you want to engage with us, if you want to engage with the software, we will teach you how to be the next testimony. And it is simple as that. So, it boils down to 3 questions, ladies and gentlemen. And can everybody answer me with a quick yes or a quick no, please? Thank you very much. Do you want to make an additional income? Yes or no, please? Nobody is going to make this for you. You have to realize the opportunity that is out there and make the change. Do you have the ability to learn simple rules? Yes or no, please? See, because already today we've shown you trend signal A to G. Just think about what A to Z might look like. We've already been through our most profitable trading strategy with you all, and it's taken less than an hour. And finally, do you have a minimum of 20 minutes a day? Yes or no, please? Because that is legitimately all that is required to input and implement our end of day trading strategy at 10 o'clock, much like Philip's testimony as well. If you can answer yes to all of these 3 questions, then I would suggest that you haven't got anything to lose by giving it a go and joining us as a brand new Trend Signal client. If that's you, then we'd like to invite you to join us. The cost is $3,597 plus the VAT. Includes a lifetime license to the indicator package, and also encompasses a exactly, Jeff. That's fine. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, that's fine. Well, we can talk about that afterwards. That's not a problem at all. The price is 3,597 plus the VAT, ladies and gentlemen. So it includes a lifetime license to the indicator package and also comprehensive enrollment to our Learning Academy, the videos, articles, tutorials. You are immediately set up with the software onto your device. You are also granted instant access to all of the videos, the articles, and the tutorials. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. This ain't a £50 ebook, ladies and gentlemen. That's not what this is. This is a piece of state-of-the-art, 3-time award-winning predictive trading software with a 15-year track record. 15 years is a very long time. I know that it works because I use it every day. I know that our users know it works because they use it every day. But the reality is you have never used it before. So if you were to join us and pay that money, there is an element of risk associated if you were to join us. Except that there isn't, ladies and gentlemen. Can I assure you that this is a risk-free proposition? And I will tell you why. Every single person who pays us a bean of their money to join us is automatically covered by the protection of a money-back guarantee. And it works like this. You pay your money, you get installed, you are granted access to all of the materials, including the one-to-one coaching sessions. If at the end of the 14-day period, you feel as though that it is not for you, you feel as though that Trend Signal is not for you, you are dissatisfied in any way, shape or form, well, number one, I'd be distraught because it seldom happens. But number two, providing you've attended your one-to-one coaching sessions, well, why wouldn't you? That's why people are going to join us in the first place. If they are willing to engage with us, then I'm afraid to say, regretfully, yeah, we would have to issue back the refund in full. Out of about 10,000 users globally, ladies and gentlemen, I have approximately 38 refunds. We are incredibly proud of that statistic. It means that we are attracting the right type of client from our perspective, and from your perspective, it means that we're not misleading anybody. We're not telling any porky pies. We're not fibbing anywhere. If I tell you here that we make 1,000 pips a month, there are people who have seen a webinar like this one, they have paid their money, and they are doing precisely the same. Now, something that I am trialing, I had a quick word with Adrian before we started the session, and we decided to go ahead with this. Tell me, please, ladies and gents, is there anybody in the room right now who likes the thought of joining Trend Signal, however, would prefer to stagger the payment over a number of months? Yeah? Can you type the word terms, as in payment terms? Can you write the word terms into the questions panel, please, if you're somebody who wants to join Trend Signal, but you would like to discuss spreading the cost, please. And if you write in terms, plus also your phone number, what I'll do is I'll have one of the guys give you a call at some stage to discuss payment terms with you. To tell you the truth, it's only really been something we've been trialing for the last sort of month or so. And the reality is, what we'd wanted to do is say to people, well, we haven't really got anything to hide. And to be quite honest with you, if it builds a bit more trust and confidence in the ability of the software and our training, well, we don't need all of the money up front. Just put down maybe a third now, a third next month, and a third in the final month. Hey, listen, we can even put down a deposit today and then spread the balance over 9 months, ladies and gentlemen. 9 months. I don't really care. That's not really my decision. That's your decision. If you are willing to give Trend Signal a go, but you would like to join us, but you would like to spread the cost, just indicate your interest. Type in the word terms, as in payment terms. And if you're genuinely serious about it, just write down the best contact number as well. That would be fantastic. Thank you. Now, also, one thing that I managed to secure with Adrian is if, ladies and gentlemen, if there is anybody in the room who can pay their deposit, just their deposit, by the close of play today, close of play today, that I'm willing to knock off £300 to put towards your trading account. Everybody got it? If you are able to put down your deposit by the close of play, then I will give you back £300 towards your trading account. Cutting to the quick, the scenario looks like this, ladies and gentlemen. You want to join us. You either pay one instalment of 3297 plus the VAT, or if you would prefer to, today pay a deposit of £989 plus the VAT, and then spread the balance over either 6 or even 9 months for people. Doesn't matter to me. If you're spreading the cost, ladies and gents, number one, it is interest free. I'm not prepared to charge anybody interest. Number two, you still have instant access to the software. If you pay your deposit, I will still register you on the member website and area, the confidential information and the confidential materials, and I will still book in the installation and give you and configure the software for you. The only difference is you're spreading the balance. You're not paying all up front in one go. Crucially, ladies and gents, I will still cover you with the same money back guarantee. There you go. Enough. Right. Ladies and gentlemen, we have reached the part of the presentation. This is what it comes down to. You have to make a decision. If you like what you've heard from Adrian and myself this afternoon, and you wish to join us, if you can pay your deposit, take advantage of the discount, please type the word join into the questions panel right now, please. Please type the word join into the questions panel. Please also include the best number and the best time and date you wish to be contacted. Please indicate your interest, ladies and gentlemen. If you can join us today and you want to place your deposit, if you want to book your installation, please type the word join into the questions panel. Then also include the best contact number and the most convenient date and time for me. So for example, Lewis Clamping, join on the mobile today at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And what will happen, ladies and gents, is we'll give you a call. We will ask you for your payment details. We will also ask you for your availability. And then what we'll do is we'll book in the installation and then grant you access to all of the confidential materials. But you have to indicate your interest first, please. Once again, please type the word join into the questions panel. Please also include the best contact number, unless you have done so already, and also the most convenient date and time for me. So for instance, join Lewis Clamping on the landline today at 4 o'clock, say. We aim to be out of the office by 7 o'clock this evening, ladies and gents. So if you are going to do it, if you want to take advantage of it all, then you have to put your name down. Right, I can see a number of you have done, put in joins and terms and so on. I can see a couple of questions though for anybody who is unsure. So let me try and whiz through these. Simon, I'm in the UK, sorry for my confusion. Different VAT rates, 20%. Simon, yeah, it is, absolutely. Simon, it's just 20%. So inclusive, the total is 3,956 and 40 pence, Simon. That's it. Yep, you're quite right. Right, does it work on a PC and a Mac? Yes, it does, Jeff. I can install it on a PC or a Mac, Apple Mac for you, and indeed you can have it on more than one device. Final call, ladies and gents. Please type the word join into the questions panel. Please also include the best contact number and also the most convenient date and time for me. So for example, Lewis Clamping on the mobile today at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And I promise you that if you can pay your deposit by the close of play today, I will give you the discount towards your trading account. I will also book in the installation, and I will grant you access to all of the confidential materials. But you must type the word join, you must also include the best contact number, and you must let me know what time today you want to have a quick chat. That would be fantastic. Chaz says, could you restate the money back guarantee terms? Chaz, yes, it's ever so straightforward. Any credible business has to back up what it does. Of course, what we say is that you have a 2-week period to have unadulterated access to all of the confidential materials, all of the softwares, all of the one-to-one coaching sessions, but still have a, get out of jail free card to play. If you felt as though, Chaz, that it wasn't for you, if you felt as though you were dissatisfied, Chaz, I ask one thing from you, and that is that you engage with the program by attending your one-to-one coaching sessions. You do that, you still believe that it is not for you, then yes, Chaz, regrettably, I'm afraid we'd have to issue you back the refund in full. Thanks, Simon. Perfect. And to you, Craig, as well. That should be fine. Thanks, Jason. Excellent. Guys, listen, I must take a slurp of water because I'm losing my voice. What I'm going to do is pop everybody on hold for about 30 seconds. Let me have a quick drink of water, and I'll come back to you. Now's your chance, ladies and gentlemen. If you're still on the fence, please type the word join into the questions panel. And just to reiterate, if you're typing in join, guys, just to reiterate, if you're typing in join, then I will call you on the number provided at the time specified. I will ask you for your payment information, and I will also ask you for your availability. If you can provide those things, I would love to welcome you as the next new client here at TrendSignal. Good, enough. Right, I'll come back to you in about 30 seconds. Thank you. Good. Right. Okay. Yeah, plenty of join requests there. So thank you ever so much for all of those, ladies and gentlemen. What we'll do is we'll call you on the numbers provided at the times specified. So between now, we'll probably be wrapping up shortly, I would imagine, next 5 minutes, up until about 6, 7 o'clock this evening. Again, once more, you can have the software installed and then subsequently go off and use the package as intended. We will ask you for your payment details. We'll also talk to you about availability as well. But so long as you give me the join request or the terms request, you pop in your best contact number and the time today you want to have a quick chat, then I'm prepared to do all of that for you as well and get you enrolled. Thank you. Good. Okay, so what does the roadmap look like? Plenty of people ask me, well, Lewis, I'll tell you what, now I've joined, what does the next couple of weeks look like, just so I know exactly what I'm getting myself in for? Well, once you've placed the order, guys, we spend 5 minutes with you over the telephone. We'll talk to you about your trading plan, but by the time we've installed the package, what happens is we knock up a date and time with our IT department. We've got Taya and Gemma. They're fantastic at what they do. They log in to your computer to download and install the package and configure all of the templates. Pardon me. Oh, excuse me. So that when you're ready to start trading with TrendSignal, it's as seamless as possible. We don't want any hiccups along the way. If there are any hiccups, we want them to be, trading wise. We don't want them to be technological. We can sort out all of those sorts of problems as they occur. They will also include downloading and installation and configuration of the Ensign charting platform. There is a token, £35 per month charge for that, but that is something that they set up with you upon the time of installation of the software. We then grant you access to all of the confidential materials. So everybody joining us later this afternoon, we will do that instantly for you. I'd imagine we have your email address on file. If it's the correct one, then we shall use that one. If it's not, then we'll ask you for the right one. I know that plenty of people have different emails for spam and so on and so forth. So we'll ask you for the best email so we can grant you access to the materials. So this is when you get delivery of a welcome pack as well. That will reach you by the close of play today also. We then set you up with Skype. Online workshops begin on a Monday and Thursday. Today is Thursday, so you'll have missed this morning's. But next Monday mornings at 8 o'clock, that will be the one you're booked in for. If you are there live, great, fantastic. But if you're not, ladies and gentlemen, don't worry too much. We record them, so they are available for playback at a later time, if you understand. Then the one-to-one coaching sessions begin. If I can say, this is probably the best thing about the whole package. It's all very well having a textbook or a classroom environment or a webinar to learn from. I don't know about you, but sometimes one-to-one help usually is the best thing. It's the best way of learning something. If you're picking up a new skill, the best way to do it is learn directly one-to-one from somebody who has done it before, so they can point you out. You may well find that actually after a session or two, you're signed off as competent with us, in which case, fantastic. You may need another session though, it doesn't matter. It's still exactly, Jeff. Still, our promise, ladies and gents, is that anybody who pays us a bean of their money is put in a position where you are able to be the next Lisa, to be the next Chris, to be the next Philip, to be the next Mark, and so on and so forth. Yeah, fine. Norman, that's not a problem. I'll give you a call after the webinar. I will, with your permission, of course, be troubling you all for a testimony within the next 3 to 6 months. If you would be so kind, of course. Now, the next training day, this is a free training day we include as part of the package. The next day is on the 27th of June. If you can't make that day, don't worry too much. I imagine the 8 spaces will be filled by the close of play today if your responses have anything to go by. If not, we'll invite you into the ones in July. So over here in Milton Keynes, if you are willing and able to, I quite like meeting clients. You have to understand this is a proper project that people embark upon for the long term. So for that reason, I'm not really interested in taking your money and then hiding behind an email. I want to see you because we're damn well serious about this, ladies and gents. We have been now since 2003. We have an interest in making sure that you are successful if you are to join us. And it is as simple as that. Lovely testimony here from Phil, and this is excellent because this really wraps up the session and gives it a lovely ending. Keith is one of our coaches, by the way. Hi, Keith. Just touching base, letting you know about my progress. I said I would let you know when I recovered the cost of the training, which I did at the end of week 9. That's a question we get quite a bit. How long does it take to recover the cost of the training? 9 weeks, so says Phil. So pleased with the progress. Just starting week 11, still have trades open from earlier weeks, but progress to date is good. On the closed trades, continuations, I have 18 winning trades, 2 losing trades, 90% success rate, which is very good. 2 up, 2,057 pips. Snipers, I have 34 winning trades, 16 losing trades, still up 1,445 pips. Little mixed on S4 and S5, which started very well, but has tailed off a little of late. I'm actually slightly down, but that is by down 28 pips. So overall, well up and enjoying it. The pot is gradually increasing, and with it, my stake is increasing, so all looking good for the future. Thanks for your help. Kind regards, Phil. I think that really sweetens the deal, actually. Good. Okay, well, we've overrun slightly. Ladies and gents, can I just take this opportunity? We will be wrapping up the session in the next minute or so. So can I just say, on behalf of Adrian Boothby and myself, Lewis Clamping, thank you all ever so much for coming in to see us. I hope it's been beneficial to everybody. It's certainly been a pleasure having you all come in to attend. It's been a really lively session as well, which is excellent. Yeah, all I can say is to everybody who has left your details, we will be calling you on the numbers provided at the times specified. To everybody else, I'm sure we shall catch up at some stage this week. That's it from us this afternoon, ladies and gents. I can't wait to have you on board as a user and show you the potential of the program. Look forward to speaking. Cheers, guys, and have a lovely rest of the week. Thank you.